Them to briefly introduce themselves and to describe the organization that they work for and their current position. So I'm going to start with Colin.
Hi all. Apologies for not being there with you today. My name is Colin Fetterly, and after spending about 8 years in the PPG industry up in Toronto, I decided to come back home with my wife and kids, and now I am the finance manager with Ambassatours. So one of Atlantic Canada's premier tourism companies here in Halifax. We operate out of all major ports in Atlantic Canada, bringing cruise line passengers to many venues that showcase our Atlantic Canadian traditions and beautiful landscapes. We also operate a local Halifax company called Murphy's Sailing Tours. We run the Harbor Hoppers and 3 different vessels, the Silva, Harbor Queen, and Court the Spirit. We specialize in family adventures, party cruises, and private events. We also offer sightseeing and various wine tours through the valley, and that's pretty much business.
Thank you, Colin. Sharon?
All of my roles have had a financial element or been a purely finance or budget related. So at age 50, I started the CMA program, graduating 10 years ago this month. So I'm a recent CPA. Genome Atlantic is a not-for-profit genomics research accelerator, providing research project funding from a variety of sources. We are matchmakers for industry and academics needing to solve real-world problems with genomic solutions. We fundraise for our projects from a variety of sources, including Genome Canada. And once a project is launched, we are responsible for financial and project oversight, high-level project management, and reporting on outcomes, as well as use of funds. So my role includes Genome Atlantic accounting and finance, so corporate accounting and finance, as well as project accounting. For a little bit of context, genomics can be applied in a variety of sectors, not just human health, where it can yield more precise diagnosis and treatment of disease or observing and identifying viruses like COVID-19, obviously. It's also extremely helpful in selective breeding techniques, particularly in species that take a long time to mature, like Christmas trees or apple orchards. So some of our projects have worked with oyster and mussel stock to identify and amplify favorable traits, making them more well adapted to the impact of climate change in their environment. We currently have 60 million in active projects in our pipeline, which range from a $20,000 proof of concept up to multi-million-dollar, multi-year, multi-partner collaborations. So working across all 4 Atlantic Canadian provinces, we have helped contribute over $160 million to Atlantic Canada in research and development since 2000. In a small to medium-sized organization like ours, the Director of Finance or CFO role may also include board and organizational governance and policymaking, IT and cybersecurity, HR and operational management, and often bookkeeping functions as well, such as AR and AP, and quite often payroll. In my current role, I'm also engaged in government relations from time to time due to my experience in that area. So what's really cool about working for an SME is that you get to work on very interesting projects as well as be, the finance lead. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Julie?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Julie LeBlanc. I took a little bit of a roundabout way to get to the position that I'm in. After high school, I had decided to pursue a Bachelor of Arts, and when it came time to actually pay the tuition, my folks were asking some questions about what I intended to do with it, if I was going to get into law or teaching and that sort of thing. I wasn't sure, so I ended up taking a little bit of time off and traveled. My family's from the UK, so I went over there for a year, which is where I learned that accounting can be applied to virtually any industry going. So if you have something that you're really interested in, maybe it's the theater, you could work in accounting for that industry. So eventually I came home and decided to go to university, and I went to the Mount. I graduated from here in 2016. And after that, I joined public accounting, worked there while I got my CPA designation, and it was just an absolute fantastic learning environment. I could actually feel like I was getting a little bit smarter every day because there was just so many files to work on, and there was so much to do that you just picked it up really, really quickly. But by that time, I was a little bit of a mature student, looking for a little different pace in life. And so an opportunity came up at CRA, Canada Revenue Agency, which is where I am today. I joined their valuations group, where I did the CBV designation. That's the Chartered Business Valuator designation. And I've been there ever since. So most people are pretty familiar with CRA and what we do as far as delivering benefits and things like that. But one common misconception about the agency is that if you work there, you have to work in audit. And the reality of it is there's, the last time I checked, about 44,000 people who work there. And not all of us are auditors. I've never audited for them a day in my life. There's everything from human resources to internal finance, business valuations, a lot of different opportunities. So if you're ever thinking about getting into government, just make sure that you look around and see what kind of opportunities are available, and don't necessarily think it's just one thing, because we're often a lot of different things. Thank you.
Thank you. Tharmini?
Hi, everyone. So I'm Tharmini Arulramalingam. I'm with Scotiabank. So I started with Scotiabank in 2012 throughout our core program. So since then, I'm with them. So I haven't completed my CPA, but I have my other certification and licensing. Currently, I'm holding a position with Scotiabank as a virtual small business advisor. The position is giving me to practice my technical accounting skills. So when we all talking about banking industry, it is a finance industry, but you also can find the job accounting related. So when it comes to any bank, so I'll talk about Scotiabank because I'm there. So we have Scotia Wealth, Scotia iTrade, commercial banking, small business side, retail, service sales. So you can choose wherever you want to go. It depends on your personality because that is going to determine what you want. Even though I am an accounting graduate student with an IT degree, I haven't completed my CPA because I tried twice and then I reevaluated and I said, okay, I can do it later because I got some other opportunities to move forward. So it's completely depend on what is in front of you and what you are. So you can still be successful in your career. I would say anytime you go for any job opportunities, don't be too focused on technical side. Just question yourself what you want. So I'm proud to say myself, I'm a very passionate banker. It's been 2012 till 2024, 18 years. So is it 18, right? You can do your math. I'll leave it to you. So I would say, yeah, less than 18. It's I'm sure because I'm from Sri Lanka, so I migrated to Canada in 2009. I started Mount St. Vincent in 2010. Since then, my growth and development in Canada is amazing. And thanks to everyone around me, especially the co-op office in Mount St. Vincent University and the small size classrooms, amazing. I always recommend any international students join Mount because the small size classroom always give you an opportunity to practice your communication, presentation, and public speaking skills. No matter which class you are not lost in 1,000 students. We rarely have the auditorium presentation classrooms. I don't know. I enjoyed every single day at Mount St. Vincent as an international student, which gave me an opportunity to groom myself to where I am today. So That is my career. And talking about my current job, so when I say virtual small business advisor position, it's a small business advisory position. So I was a senior financial advisor before I came to the role, this role. I was actually helping the clients to manage their personal finances. So managing their personal finances, again, if you have accounting background, it's very handy because you understand what is tax, what you can help them, like what you can tell them or recommend them or advise them in terms of their personal finances. My current role, accounting background is even better because I have to do the statement analysis. So I have assigned client portfolios with high value and complex. So these all business owners need advice and help in their financial needs. So when it comes to the financial needs, we always do the statement analysis to approve their credit deals. So again, we learn it in academic wise, which I'm practicing now in my job. So that's all about me and my career and my current job and my company. You know, it's one of the big banks in Canada. So Scotiabank has different departments, different job opportunities, so many branches across country. And we also have a partnership with Bank of America, and also we have branches in Mexico, Bahamas, and some of the other Caribbean countries. So it's not just Canadian, it's global. So if you're looking for any particular job description, it is there. It's a matter of you need to go dig down. So anytime you're applying for the banking jobs, don't ever have that idea, oh, it's just a sales role. I don't think I can practice my accounting skill. That's not true. You'll definitely get the chance. So that's all about me and my career and the company. So thank you.
Thank you, Tharmini. Now, I think you've already kind of answered the second question, which was a type of path that a graduate could follow in your organization, which is great because that's a lead in. So we'll jump back to Julie now, and she'll kind of highlight some paths that graduates could follow in the CRA.
So historically, people often came into CRA either through collections or through an entry-level audit position. That has changed a little bit in recent years. If candidates already have experience in certain sectors, or if they already have done different things before your degree, then you might be able to start in a different role. Often people do join through the audit stream, which is a pre-approved route for CPA, which for those of you that are interested in pursuing your designation does make life a little bit easier on the experience reporting side of things. But there are lots of other jobs and roles within the agency where you can get your CPA if that's your goal without going into audit. I know people who have done it through the group that we call workload development. So that would be the team of people who screen files for risk to decide if they are justified for going to audit or not. The internal finance group has a couple of people in the program right now. And one of the guys on my team who is far more motivated than I am is actually doing the CPA and the CBV designations together. So for him, he has to do the experience verification route because it's not a pre-approved stream through CPA. But the experience that he's getting is valid. Yeah, basically anybody within CRA who is doing their designation, historically all those dues have been covered, their fees have been covered as well. So it is a really great spot if pursuing your designation is something that's on your radar, which I think we'll probably get to in a little bit, where I think are going to talk about work-life balance and that sort of thing. So thank you.
Sharon?
So this working in a small to medium-sized organization like mine, it's typically a one-person role or maybe two people role kind of thing. So typically to get into a small organization, you've got to have a designation because it's required in the job. You're going to do more than the CFO role. You're going to do a bit of bookkeeping as well, probably, but but you do need this CPA designation. And I would encourage people to consider those small and medium-sized organizations from the perspective of those are really interesting places to get a variety of experiences in the project side, in the what that organization is doing. For instance, not-for-profits, for instance. But I do know people also who have hang with their shingle kind of as a CFO for hire. We have some project accountants who work on more than one project, plus other statement analysis for other organizations or whatever. So there's a lot of opportunity in the small business area for you to do your own thing, do a consulting contract, or create your own company kind of thing. The next step for us will be bringing someone in as I start to transition out. So it will likely be a recent graduate who we then will mentor into the position as I transition out. So that's our
And Colin. Your mic's not on.
Sorry, I also concur with that, being a part of a small, medium business myself, where our finance team is fairly small, 5 people representing our VP finance, myself, finance manager. We have 2 corporate accountants and an accounts payable person with us. So, a new graduate we would expect to be coming into a similar role to your accounts payable, just to kind of learn the ropes, the varying differences across the couple companies that we have here. And then hopefully would then kind of migrate to your corporate accountant role, and then kind of hopefully upwards through the chain as you go. We've seen it through other parts of our organization where we've had part-time students that come and work for us throughout the years, that have come and started as a reservations agent down at the desk. And we actually have one person who's actually worked his way up to be our director of fleet operations, who oversees all of our vessels and oversees all of our harbor hoppers. And he's only 26. He's worked with us for about 8 years, and but typically someone who shows drive, shows the initiative, and kind of wants to stick through it and learns the business, you can kind of go anywhere. And as the last presenter kind of mentioned, small and medium sized companies, you're going to learn so much more. There's so many more intriguing things. It's not the same every day. It's our CEO comes to us and and says he wants something or other, and we try and either one, talk him out of it, or talk him into it, depending on what it is, I guess. But you're, as part of a small business, you're kind of you're relied on more heavily, and your experience is crucial to the organization in making either really good decisions or really bad decisions. So I guess I always recommend small and medium business organization, from coming from the PPG world, in being one small part of the machine, being a very small cog in it, and then coming to a small medium business, you're such a bigger cog. Your voice is heard more. Your opinion matters, and those types of things.
That's great. Thank you so much. So I'm going to blend a couple of questions together here now. I want to talk about how your organization supports a healthy work-life balance, and kind of blend that in with a little bit about community service work, because I feel that a lot of people going into the workforce have some affinity to working within their community and in a charitable way. So how does your organization support a healthy work-life balance? And does your organization actually support community service work as initiatives throughout? And that can come in the form, I guess, of corporate social responsibility in a way, like we think about Bell Let's Talk and that sort of thing. So I'm kind of ad-libbing a little bit here, but that's the kind of way I want to try and put that out there. So Sharon, I'm going to start with you on that one.
it's great to put those together, Rhonda. That's a great observation as well. That we're very clear about a person's individual priorities, and that's family first. So that comes from the top. It's tone at the top. We are very big on personal, physical, and mental health and wellness, and really encourage people to get active or remain active or become active, and also take care of their own mental health. So the way we support those things is we have a very great flexibility in our work schedules. So, something comes up and children need to be attended to, that's just what you do. Children, parents, whatever. So we are also currently working in the office 3 days a week, 2 days out. So people work from home and they have a bit more relaxed schedule, obviously, when they're home. We have competitive health and dental package with EFAP, which is, I think that's pretty standard in SMEs right now, is that in order to retain staff, you need to have a decent package. We also have 2,000 a year for budget for professional development, and 500 a year budget for health and wellness programs like yoga or gym memberships or whatever. We fully support individuals' interests in philanthropy or volunteering or board governance, and particularly things outside of our kind of sphere. So healthcare, whatever it is you're interested in, really, you just come in and make the pitch, and generally speaking, it's good to go. So, for instance, I served as a patient and family advisor on the provincial palliative care strategy in 2014, from 2014 till about 2016. My CEO works on a panel that verifies and validates students who are applying to medical school. One of my colleagues worked on the CPRS, the Canadian Public Relations Society board, for many years. So those kinds of things are fully engaged, fully encouraged and supported through regular kind of your day job.
Great, thanks so much. Julie?
Yeah, so work-life balance was one of the key reasons that I ended up joining Canada Revenue Agency. We typically work regular business hours. So when I was going through the CBV program with them, that meant that I had my evenings and my weekends to do a fair bit of studying at the time, sometimes some early morning stuff. And now, as I'm getting a little bit older, it means that I get to have supper with my kids and my partner most nights. A few other things, I made a couple of notes. We do compressed schedules, so you can pretty much work the hours that you want to work. We have some core hours. I think it's between about 9 and 3. But outside of that, if you wanted to work, say, like a 7 to 4 and just bank your extra time and take off every other Friday or every other Monday, that's pretty flexible. We also do something called leave with income averaging. So you can take off between 5 and 12 weeks without pay, but they'll take your annual salary and spread it out for you over the whole year. So you'll still be getting a paycheck in that time you're off. So I used that. Just my partner was on an assignment in Singapore. So I just took a month and a half and went over to Singapore for a little bit, and then had a job to come back to and was still getting a paycheck while I was away. We also get some nice perks, especially for folks who might be helping take care of other family members, whether that's your parents or small kids. We have family leave for that. And recently they changed it so you can use some of that time to attend personal services appointments that you can't necessarily do on the weekends or in the evenings. So I know when I was selling my house, I had to meet with lawyers and things like that. They typically don't want to see you, Friday night or anything. So it just gave me the flexibility to be able to do that Monday to Friday, which was great. And it did help take a lot of the stress out of that situation. As far as community service work goes, we are very involved with what's called the CRA charitable campaign that's partnered up with United Way. So every year they pick a different local organization to help out and do a day of caring. As a couple of examples, we came together last year, I believe it was, to go to North Grove, which is a community hub where people come together to grow and cook, share food. So yeah, people within the within the agency, within CRA can volunteer to do that, and you get to do that on a work day, which is kind of nice. We also send about 8 to 10 people every year to help out with the Halifax Harbor Swim, which is really fun too. And it also ties into the work-life balance a little bit in a way, because it really does present great opportunities for team building within the group as well, because it's not all the time that you get to go and like help dig a garden with your coworkers and talk about whatever comes up. So it's a great place to be for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Tharmini?
Being honest with you, I have no idea what was work-life balance until I had my first baby. So I was so workaholic until then. As soon as I had my first baby, I realized, oh my God, I the office, you should go home by 6:30. But saying the work-life balance, we definitely have work-life balance in Scotiabank as well. So I have two kids for myself. They are 7 and 4-year-old. They're keeping myself on my toes. And being at office 8 hours, coming home, running with them, not easy. And when it comes to work, stress is everywhere. Let's be realistic. So it's all about how you're managing it. And the work-life balance, it is there as well. So when it comes to the banking industry, it depends on what position you are holding. The work-life balance will determine. If you're a branch manager and asking to work from home every day, it's impossible because you need to be in the branch physically with your team. So you have your paid vacation, paid sick days. After pandemic, we have increased our sick days by another additional 5 days. So you get extra 5 sick days from what we had before. On top of that, you have all the benefits through Scotiabank, especially work perks. So anytime you want to put your kids in daycare, I get a discount with certain daycare companies, and you get discounts in the gym membership. You get all these benefits. On top of that, you also get benefit for your medical, dental, and your specs and everything. Like you want to go for your massage, yes. So you get all the benefits. And when it comes to the work-life balance, definitely it depends on what position you are looking to. So for me, I'm not a manager right now because I know that is a very responsibility role which I cannot fulfill being a mother of two young kids. So I just upped that idea for the time being. I said, no, I'm not taking that role currently. I have a very good work-life balance because I can work remotely. My daughter was sick this Monday. I had my client meetings. Still, I could able to handle that work from home remotely because my branches, I'm working with the branches in Ontario. So under me, there are different branches and their managers and their clientele is huge. So I have to be there remotely, but still I could able to do my job. So work-life balance again, it depends on what you are looking for. So just be cautious before you accept any job offer, like you are reading it correctly, like you are accepting the right role. After accepting and not you cannot complain. The only thing you can do is after accepting the role, you can learn from the challenges what you're facing. So work-life balance is tremendous with Scotiabank, which which is giving me so many what's I call, which is giving me the opportunity to still be in the industry and growing up, like bringing up my children. So it is there, but it depends on like you, what do you want, right? Yeah. And coming to the organization and the charities, we have so many, we support so many charities and we donate money from our paycheck. So you can choose which charity you want to donate the money. There are options. And also coming to the volunteer work, we have this site. You can go and choose where do you want to volunteer, and the hours are recorded and we pay for the hours as well. So you have all the options. We support the community, we volunteer events, and today I am here in middle of the day. So this is a volunteering thing for me. It's definitely what's that called? Not additional thing I'm doing, but during the workday I'm here. So it's there. It's all about how you are looking at it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Colin.
Yeah, being in the tourism industry, especially for work-life balance, there's a lot of opportunity to work from home, especially during the off season, which November to April. We usually have a protocol for a lot of our employees, our salaried employees, that you have to be into the office at least once a week, and then the rest of the time you can pretty much spend working from home. Now during the busy season, which is a lot of the times people want to take vacations, but we encourage employees to set boundaries when it comes to times they work. So no emails late at night or phone calls after hours. If you're part of the operations team, it's a little different when we're running party cruises at night or hoppers or if the hoppers break down at 7 o'clock, you kind of that we need to have staff on call for things like that. Vacation time is important. Everybody needs to take it and be encouraged to take it. But for our cruise operations staff, we're not going to want to have them take vacations in September and October when we have, like today, we have 4 cruise ships in the harbor in Halifax that we're servicing. So and then through September and October, there's 3 days where there's no cruise ships in Halifax. So we're really hoping that somebody doesn't want to take 3 weeks vacation in the middle of September and October. But outside of those things, like the work-life balance is incredible here. And working from the Cable Wharf office here in downtown Halifax, you're not going to get a better view from an office building than right here. You almost want to come into the office every day. And then me as well, have 2 small kids at home, so if I have to take off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to go relieve my wife because she's not feeling too well, then I have the opportunity to do that, and then jump on my computer late at night if I really want to. If there's still some things that need to get done, that's kind of how I like to do it. And as for giving back to the community and things like that, every year we as a collective company volunteer a day in December to go out and deliver meals for Feed Nova Scotia. We offer all of our employees a paid day off to go volunteer for the charity of their choosing. And then on top of that, we offer many donations of either tickets or money to various community organizations, local charities within our community.
That's great. Thanks so much. Lots of great work-life balance going on in these 4 companies, along with some good charitable and volunteer initiatives for sure. So my next question, and I'm going to start with Julie on this one, is what particular skills, attributes, or training make a candidate stand out from the rest when they're applying for an accounting or finance position within your organization?
Yeah, it's a really great question. And one of the skills that I feel is hugely important, no matter what you're applying for, whether it's in accounting and finance or not, but it's the ability to really focus and to get into and really think and do some deep work. One of my colleagues she's just a wizard. Like, this woman makes no sense what she can get done. She was the gold medalist, so top mark in Canada for the MQE for the CBB designation. Like, has kids, plays sports, does everything, and she's very good at compartmentalizing her life. So when she's at work, she is at work 100%, and when she's playing volleyball, she's playing volleyball. So yeah, the ability to work undistracted, I think, is becoming harder and harder, just given the world that we live in today. I read a book a little while ago called Deep Work, And after reading it, I did a little bit of a test where I put a timer for 60 minutes to just see how many distractions I got within an hour. And for me, the first time I did it, it was 21. And I was like, well, that can't be right. Like, it was obviously just, an off day or whatever. So I did it again. And the next time it was 24. So whether that was my personal phone or Teams or Outlook or, Amazon showed up at the door, one of them, it was just constant disruption. So it's not something that you can necessarily put on your resume, but if you're in an interview situation or at a networking event or something like that, and you're talking to prospective employers and just letting them know that this is on your radar, that you understand the world we live in now, it just, like, there's so many things competing for our attention that it does take conscious effort to kind of put that away. I think that would go a long way, just because then you can concentrate, especially if it's a job that you're looking at pursuing any type of designation after. The ability to work and to just manage your time, like just batch up those administrative tasks that you don't want to do, whether that's like your timesheet or your inbox or whatever it may be, so that when it comes time to do the job where you generate value, that you can do it really, really well. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Tharmini?
Do you mind read the question again?
What particular skills, attributes, or training make a candidate stand out from the rest when applying for accounting or finance positions?
Thank you. So when it comes to the skills, I would say more than any of this, just be open-minded. Any positions you apply, be open-minded. With an attitude of learning, just show yourself you're open to learn anything, because technical skills are there on y'all. It's all about the soft skills we are looking for. So the reason why we are looking for this open mindset to face the changes in the organizations. So wherever you land in, doesn't matter banking, CRA, or any other organizations, the recruiters, they are looking for people who are having this mindset, open mindset to learn and adapt themselves into different changes mainly. Because with the technology evolution right now, we have changes every single day, especially in the banking industry. Every day is different for us, challenge. So if you could able to be with the right attitude, showing that you're open to learn things, and if you could able to relate things at your work, multitasking is the other one, like you mentioned. So you could able to multitask, because sometimes you are expect to complete your job within that given time period, and you have other jobs to attend to. So multitasking also huge. So when it comes to the job interview, it's all about how you're presenting yourself with the open-minded, showing that, okay, you are here with an open mindset to learn and accepting the challenges, and like you can adapt yourself. So especially with the banking industry, we are dealing with clients, different clients, and it's not easy some days because they get upset with you and the system changes and you have your policy changes, the process changes. Like every day is a change. Change is the one word never change in the banking industry. So just be open-minded. That's all I could tell you. And the training part, don't worry about the training. Wherever you join, the training is there. Continuous education, learning, training is provided by the employer. So especially with Scotiabank, that is there. We will give you. But what we want to know, like your personality, like how you can help a client or internal team. So that is what we mainly looking for in the candidates. Thank you.
Colin?
Yeah, I'll just say when I'm looking at resumes, the piece that really catch my attention is work history. Whether it doesn't have to be anything finance or accounting related, but various types of experience. So varying degrees of responsibility, whether or not you have access to cash or keys, your timeliness of whether you're opening or closing your convenience store or restaurant or something along those lines. It's like those are the types of things that I initially look for, especially for those entry level positions. Now, other skills on your resumes that you would be talking about that I look for is like Excel. Any type of Excel experience, even if it's beginner, advanced, medium, or whatever it is. Now, what I like to do with my team, I have a lot more experience than they do with Excel, and so I've actually taken training sessions with them every couple of months and kind of work through new things. So I'm always looking for someone that has experience, but is more kind of has that ability to be trained as well. It's like there's you want somebody to find that you can help adapt to the business world and kind of train them into. That's what I'm trying to say is you want to be able to reach your goal. You want to be able to help train people. I don't know how to say that better. I'm looking for somebody who is adaptable to all situations and is willing to learn. I guess that's the easiest way to put it.
That's great. Thanks so much. And Sharon.
These are all really great points. I wish I'd thought of them all, particularly Julie's. I like that idea. But also, technical competencies are assumed. If you go in with a CPA, we're going to assume a technical competency in lots of areas, but strong communicators and connectors are also highly valued. So if you can't communicate the story that numbers are telling you, then you're going to have a challenge. So we look for communicators and connectors, and we will be looking for leadership competencies and how that's expressed in your work. So it may not be a work-related scenario, it may be a team sport scenario or a project-related scenario, but what kind of leadership competencies can you demonstrate at the interview stage or in your resume?
That's great. Thanks so much. So I think for a lot of you here, you're hearing a lot of the competencies that were noted in some of your course outlines this semester. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about technology. Hello. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I would like to add one more point on her communication skills. So since I see all the international students here as well, I'm one of the international students too. So on the communication skill note, I would like to tell you guys, communication skill is not the language, it's the way of communicating. So English is a second language for me too. So if as far as you know how to communicate your message to the recruiter, that's all matter. Thank you.
That's a very good point. Thank you for sharing that with a lot of our students here today. So let's talk about technology, robots and such. AI, ChatGPT. You've heard all these things, right? So a lot of people are wondering, like, how does that impact the area that we're going to go in and work in the future? And I have my own thoughts about this, which I'm not going to share because I'm not on the panel, but I'm going to pass it off to everyone here to kind of share their thoughts. So I'm going to start with Colin.
Okay. Greatly. I'll say it's definitely helped in a lot of facets of my organization as well as the greater accounting finance world at large. With technology at our fingertips, it's more like the accounting and finance profession is moving more accurate and fast paced than ever before. Efficiency becomes the goal with almost every advancement. In my organization itself, we implemented an AP software that at the beginning of 2023, we receive about 6,000 invoices every year plus. It pulls the information in directly into its software, reading line items and everything like that. It greatly improved our process, our approval process, and any type of different controls that we had in place. The accuracy when it comes down to HST registering or even coding to our specific P&L line items. What else do we do? So I will say that there is a downside to technology. Actually, I guess before I go into that, we also created an in-house stat collecting software for our cruise side of our business, which actually has increased our finance team's role in the cruise side of everything. So now we're getting into efficiencies and KPIs and everything like that that has greatly increased our value to our company. So that is two great things that on our side of from a technology standpoint. Now, there is one downside that I see to technology, and that is when you have too much information, called analysis paralysis. And so when you're trying to dig into too much detail that doesn't really mean anything to your business, or it doesn't even add value, it's just trying to dig more and more and more into different details that don't actually drive business or drive profit, don't matter. It's just try to narrow your focus as much as you can on things that really drive your business forward. And those are the things I see with technology and how they're helping the accounting finance profession.
Thank you so much. Sharon.
So obviously AI hasn't happened before, but huge technological change has happened before. So I admit that AI is a game changer in so many ways. But so were personal computers, right? So back in the day, you had computers in rooms the size of this and with their own HVAC systems. I mean, you had to protect the computer from water, that kind of thing. We have seen shifts in technology. We have seen improvements in technology, and they make our work more efficient. I think the biggest impact there is that we then need to be more strategic, and Colin is absolutely correct in deciding what pieces of information are important to us and what pieces of information really tell us the bigger picture. I think it's even more important that you can back away from that, the reams of data, and actually figure out what this is telling you. So I believe that our jobs will become more strategic and more important in the interpretation of the information. Because if we lose the keys to what the data is telling us, it really is pointless just to have more of it, kind of thing.
That's great. Thanks so much. And Tharmini.
Technology and accounting is everywhere, wherever you go these days. I have clients who are physicians, dentists, different business owners. They're all using accountants and technology. And my degree, accounting with IT. So it's everywhere. The matter is, we all got caught into the AI world right now. I'm sure most of you must have typed in chat GTP before you came here. So you known these answers before. Why are we here? To share the experience, to precise everything to that point. So AI is there. The only thing I would say is don't lose your critical thinking skill, because like Colin mentioned, informations are there for free. So when you go dig deeper, you get lost yourself in nowhere. Middle of you started looking for something, you ended up finding something. So be right on the point and look for information what exactly you want. And the second thing, keep your critical thinking skills. Relate whatever you are finding in the computer or the internet towards you. So even when you go for the interview, ChatGPT is awesome. It helps you to answer the questions. Even we use that for our appraisers, right? Because we are running out of time. Oh, your appraiser has to be completed by next week. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Where am I going to find all these fancy words? Hello, ChatGPT. Can you please help me on this? These are the questions. so amazing, right? It is good. The world is going in a different way. It's very advanced. But technology, how the technology has impact in our jobs. So when it comes to the banking, I would say 5 years, 6 years ago, the banking industry, we got rid of our back officers in the branches because back officers used to process day-to-day transactions, which became automated. So we don't need the back office. So we decided to get rid of back office. Like that, it reduced our work, but not the workload because the growing population and the demand is high. So our workload is there. How the technology playing a role in our jobs, it made our life a little bit easy, finding the data, saving the data in cloud, automations, and client services, remote activation, remotely serving the clients. Banking is the one industry holding the high security data of clients. Your social insurance numbers are with us, right? So, according to that, we are not allowed to take our computers out of the office, but now we are doing it. Why? We found a way out. How to secure our laptops, how to secure our computers through cloud. So, technology is good. It's a double-edged sword. It's all about how you are utilizing it. It's amazing. The same time, don't get caught into it too much, and like don't lose your critical thinking because it takes control of you. Thank you.
And Julie.
Yeah, everybody's brought up some really great points. I don't have a lot to add, other than as far as where technology has how it's impacted us so far. A lot of great things came out of COVID, and one of those things is technology and the ability to work from different places. In my wildest dreams, I did not imagine working from home, working for CRA. COVID-19 kicks off, and then there we go. We all go home, and we did it fairly effectively. Sharon and I were talking before the panel started that even though we have these abilities, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's always the right choice to use the technology, because there really isn't anything that replaces in-person communication and collaboration. But it's wonderful to have the option. A lot of the files I work on, the business owners or their representatives, either their accountants or valuators or lawyers, aren't they're not here in Halifax. So as far as cost savings go, I can have an interview with somebody that could be on the other side of Canada or anywhere really. So those things have been really helpful. Where we're going with it is so exciting to me. We don't get a lot of the fun stuff in CRA due to confidentiality and that sort of thing. The last thing I did understand though is there's a team in Ottawa who is looking at it. I think if you're going out and getting a job and it's not even on the radar of the company that you're applying to, that might be a little bit of a flag, because I don't see AI and all of that going away. I think it will give us some pretty cool tools. A couple of speakers that I've heard recently have referred to it as more of a co-pilot. So you don't necessarily hand over the reins and say, like, I'm just going to get AI to do my job for me. It's more the way you were speaking about how you get it to help, and then you make sure you analyze the output, and understanding that output is really key. I was speaking to somebody on Monday who basically asked it to do a comparables analysis. So one thing that we do in valuations is we like to see how the subject company that we're looking at is comparable to others. So you put in some different factors. Like normally we would do this manually through Capital IQ or whatever, where we'd select profit, different metrics, debt ratios, things like that, and then sift through potentially hundreds of different companies to try and find some that are similar. And when she ran this using AI, I think it took, I don't know, 5 seconds, gave her 8 comparable companies, and they were actually pretty decent. So it's interesting. I can't wait to see what happens with it. It's probably going to be quite some time before we get that type of fun in CRA. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see where it goes.
Okay, that's great. So I have one last question, and I want to leave a few minutes for questions from the students. So I'm going to ask everybody to answer this question in 2 sentences or less. Let's see how good you are at conciseness. What is one piece, and you may be repeating something you've already said, because I've heard some things from each of you that is very good for this question, so you may just want to pose this again, but what is one piece of practical, tangible advice that you would give to our business students entering the workforce? I will start with Julie.
I would say make time management a priority. Some people tend to think I'm not an organized person, or I don't, I can't do that. But to me, time management is just a skill like anything else. I mean, you didn't know how to drive a car, and now you do know how to drive a car, or if you don't, you could learn. There's lots of different tools out there to help with this. There's things like time blocking and different things you can Google, but definitely learn to or improve on being accountable for your time, and just make the most of it when you're working. That's it. 2 sentences, 2 long sentences.
Sharon.
A theme you've heard before, and you've heard it here at Mount St. Vincent: lifelong learning. Get used to it. It doesn't stop at the convocation. And second one, be kind and patient with yourself. It's going to take a while to get that first job. It's going to take a while to learn the skills and competencies you need, but just be patient with yourself.
Tharmini.
Now you are challenging me with the 2 sentences. Okay. Number one, your first job may not be the right job. Don't fear yourself when you land in the wrong job. Number two, don't chase the titles. Just be yourself. Like Sharon said, it takes time to elevate yourself. Or if you're lucky enough, sometimes you get the job what you exactly want. But if you ended up in a different title or different job, don't be feared to face the challenge or rush yourself to get out of the job. Face it. Just be yourself. Face it. Things will be fine. Anytime I remember those days when I'm like applying for jobs, I'm like, what should I do? I was telling Julie, I got 2 job offers in my second co-op term. One is Scotiabank and one is CRA. I don't know what made me to choose Scotiabank. I chose Scotiabank over CRA. But yeah, don't be fear. Like just go ahead and put your feet at the door, get the job, and just be yourself and face the challenge. You'll be fine.
Colin.
I had to, but maybe I'll just say one. I always like to say challenge because we've always done it this way. There is always room for improvement. And when somebody says we do this because we've always done it this way, there's clearly a reason why you should change the process. We all have a unique perspective and background. We all have something to offer our employers, our coworkers, our bosses, our employees. We are all professionals in our own unique way. So the collective brain in our industries will always come up with a better solution. You feel free to explore, discuss, and never hold a grudge, because the people in your organization, your friends, your coworkers are all there. You're all trying to row in the same direction and do what's best for the company as a whole. So challenge everything.
Thank you so much. And I think a couple of other things that were said throughout the answers to the questions that kind of stand true here too are about don't lose your critical thinking skills. That's critical. No pun intended. And to be a great communicator. That's what gets you places. It is. So I'm going to open the floor for questions now for our panelists. And I'll monitor the chat, and Miriam has the mic. So if you have a question, please raise your hand. Don't be shy.
Hi, I'm Carly. I recently had a co-op and I really enjoyed it, and I'm going back for a second term at the same company. and I'm really excited because I love that company. However, one of my coworkers said, aren't you worried about having limited experience? Don't you want to go somewhere else, see if you like it, have that broad, experience on your resume? And that made me second guess my decision. So if I were to, maybe work there full time, work there for a long time, they were saying it'd be harder in the long run to find another position in a different industry. I was just wondering what you guys think about that as accountants, or is that something that we need to look at, like broadening our resumes with all different kinds of accounting, or is that something I need to worry about, I guess?
I can take this one if you like. Personally, I think experience comes from a lot of different places, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to change places to get different types of experience. It could be worth having a conversation with whoever organizes your position as a co-op to say like, okay, well, last time I was here, I was doing XYZ, can I build on that? Maybe I can learn a little bit more. So much of what we learn in accounting and finance is transferable to other places. So I think if you're getting good experience and it has the potential to lead to full-time employment and it's in, an environment that you like to be in, I wouldn't have any concerns with it if it was me. Yeah, I would say go for it. I think that's great to have a great relationship with the employer and have them want you to come back. I think that's, yeah, hats off to you.
That's great. Thank you. I have another question up here on the chat window from Marwa, and it's after graduation, what kind of roles should we be applying or looking for on the job search sites? You sure can.
Like I mentioned it before, just sit down and identify yourself, who you are. That is very important before you apply for the job, because it depends on where you are. Like, it depends on who you are going to take you to a different path. So accounting has technical skills. You may be not the person who's going to stuck between four walls and doing the numbers. You may be having the personality, dealing with people and going around like a social butterfly. So sometimes if you ended up in an auditing job with just working with numbers or something, you may not enjoying it. So just sit down and analyze yourself to see what exactly you want and who you are, what are the skills you have. That is going to give you an idea where do you want to be. So still, once you land in the job, make a development plan, have an action plan, have a plan B, which will help you and keep on working on those. Thank you.
Go ahead, Sharon.
Just really quickly, don't be afraid to take a job that you think is beneath you. Some jobs are growth opportunities, particularly if it's in an industry that you're interested in. And don't be afraid to take a job that's a term position. I know a lot of employers post things as term positions. They have every intention of hiring full time, but they just want to try the person out, right? So just don't head yourself in by deselecting jobs that are opportunities for you.
And I would agree with that because I went into my first role when I graduated from this school through a temp agency. And within 3 months, I was hired full time and I spent 9 years there and then flipped to being an agent for that company for another 9 years. Any more questions from the floor? I don't have any online. Okay, we have Simon.
Okay, thank you. My question is, so with somebody who has been in the banking industry for like 8 years, and the role that the person took is really basically relationship management with clients, and now the person has switched to accounting and is now reading accounting. If you're applying for a job, do you go for the accounting or you start all over again? As in, like, you start all over again with the accounting, or you proceed with the relationship management, hoping that you get an accounting role?
Thank you, because I've been in your shoes one time. So I'm from Sri Lanka. I worked in a private bank back home. So I was dealing with foreign currency bureau clients. After I came here, it took me 2 years to get the job. So the job market currently in Nova Scotia is different than 12 years ago. So at that time, I couldn't find a single job in banking, even in that front line, because I didn't have the Canadian banking experience. I was going back and dig down what are they mean by Canadian banking experience. Then I found out I don't know the currency of Canada. You have loonies, toonies, dimes, which I had to learn. So, and also the environment here is different than back home. So the client expectation, handling the client is way different. So that is what exactly they mean by the Canadian banking experience. I ended up in Tim Hortons to get the customer experience, the frontline experience, before I came to Scotiabank. So that actually gave a weight in my resume to show, hey, now I know what are these currencies. I know how to handle a client in Canadian environment. I think I'm ready. So, in your question, coming back to your question, relationship manager and the accounting, right? You said. So, if you had those experience back home, finding a job in banking industry in Canada, it's not hardest as what I've been through before. So, it's better scenario right now. So, finding a job, it's easy. I shouldn't be saying easy. It's better. So what you need to do is you need to go and find the job postings to see which one would be suitable for your experience. We have financial advisory position, we have small business advisory position, we have wealth management. So relationship management could fall into anywhere, and accounting could fall into the job what I'm doing, or fall into corporate accounting. So if you have the relationship management experience and you are doing accounting, is amazing. Your resume looks great. The only thing you need to do is just get your foot in the door, because you may not to get the exact same position what you were doing back home, but just start at the front line, because as soon as you get inside the bank, you can elevate yourself very fast. It's all the matter of proving yourself. And for that, you need to get inside the company. So don't wait for the exact job title, what you did in the back home. Just get any positions coming up which is suitable for you, like your experience, so you can still relate and do your resume and covering letter and facing the interview. So don't be afraid to apply for any position, but put your step in the doors. That's important. Then you can grow faster. You have a faster growth, I can tell you.
Okay. I have no other questions online. I have time for one more question from the floor if there is one, and if not, we're going to wrap it up. Well, thank you very much for listening. Thank your panelists. Thank you very much for attending here today and giving some great insight to our lovely accounting students from all throughout the university, 2 main classes. And we really appreciate it. And we have some thanks a lot from online for a great session. So we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Colin.